Today we're diving into something many of you have asked about. What happens if you drink apple cider vinegar before bed? It seems like there's a lot of buzz online suggesting it's a good idea, but we're going to break it all down and look at the possible benefits, so you know exactly what's best for you. First, let's get a clear understanding of what apple cider vinegar can actually do. One of its biggest benefits is improving digestion. Why? Well, apple cider vinegar is an acid, but don't worry, it's not as strong as stomach acid. When we compare its pH to hydrochloric acid, the acid in your stomach, apple cider vinegar has a pH of around 2 to 3. That's pretty acidic, but it's still much weaker than stomach acid, which has a pH between 1 and 2. Now, the pH scale is exponential, meaning the difference is huge, about 30 to 100 times stronger for hydrochloric acid. Even though apple cider vinegar helps with digestion, it doesn't actually digest food itself. Instead, it primes your digestive system, kickstarting the whole process. In your stomach, there are cells called parietal cells that produce hydrochloric acid. When you drink apple cider vinegar, it stimulates these cells to produce more acid, which then activates an enzyme called pepsin. Pepsin helps break down proteins. But that's just the beginning. Once that's happening in the stomach, things continue to roll along in the small intestine. Apple cider vinegar triggers your gallbladder to release bile and gets your pancreas to release digestive enzymes. This helps break down proteins further into amino acids, fats, and even carbs. It's a chain reaction, and apple cider vinegar helps get it all going. Now, for some people, this whole process can be a problem. If you suffer from something called hypochlorhydria, which means you don't produce enough stomach acid, you can have issues like bloating, indigestion, and even malabsorption. When you can't break down food properly, your body struggles to absorb essential nutrients, like iron, calcium, and magnesium. Plus, you might experience acid reflux or GERD, which is a big misconception. A lot of people think they have too much stomach acid because they feel that burning sensation, but actually, it's often the opposite. They don't have enough stomach acid, so the food just sits there and ferments, causing it to bubble back up. Apple cider vinegar can help with all of that. By boosting stomach acid production, it supports better digestion and can ease those uncomfortable symptoms. But there's more. Apple cider vinegar can also help manage blood sugar. The active ingredient in apple cider vinegar is acetic acid. It helps slow down the rate at which food leaves your stomach, which in turn slows the absorption of carbohydrates and how quickly they turn into sugar. This means you're less likely to experience those crazy blood sugar spikes after eating. In fact, studies have shown that apple cider vinegar can improve insulin sensitivity by up to 34%. Especially in people with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. And here's another cool benefit. Apple cider vinegar can help with fat burning. It boosts the activity of AMP kinase, AMPK, an enzyme that plays a key role in energy metabolism. Essentially, apple cider vinegar helps turn on fat-burning processes in your body, making it easier to shed those extra pounds. So whether it's digestion, blood sugar control, or fat burning, apple cider vinegar can be a great addition to your routine. But remember, the timing of when you take it depends on what you're trying to achieve, so keep that in mind when figuring out what works best for you. So, let's break this down a bit further. There's a molecule called adenosine, which is connected to a phosphate group. If there's just one phosphate, it's called adenosine monophosphate, AMP. But if we add another phosphate, it becomes adenosine diphosphate, ADP. The real energy powerhouse, though, is adenosine triphosphate, ATP, which has 3 phosphate groups attached. The more phosphates we have, the more energy is stored. Think of it like a spring being wound up, ready to release energy. When we have ATP, we're fully charged and ready to go. The spring is wound up tight, and when we use that energy, it turns into ADP. Then we go back to ADP and ATP, recycling the energy. If our energy is running low, the body produces AMP, which signals that we need to recharge. Essentially, the body keeps track of the balance between AMP, ADP, and ATP. If there's a lot more AMP than ATP, it's a sign that we're in a low energy state. Now, here's where apple cider vinegar comes in. It can help adjust this balance and make it easier for your body to produce energy. When that happens, it can kickstart fat burning and help prevent fat storage, giving you an extra boost. It can also reduce appetite by increasing the release of GLP-1, a hormone that makes you feel fuller, helping you manage your cravings. But that's not all. Apple cider vinegar also supports gut health. The active ingredient, acetic acid, is a type of short-chain fatty acid that some gut bacteria produce. It's actually consumed by other good bacteria, acting as a bit of a prebiotic to fuel them. Plus, Apple cider vinegar contains organic acids that help stimulate the beneficial bacteria in your gut while keeping harmful bacteria at bay. If you use an unfiltered, organic apple cider vinegar, you might notice a little cloudiness at the bottom. That's called the mother, and it's packed with enzymes and probiotics that can further benefit your gut. So, how should you time your apple cider vinegar intake to get the most out of it? Well, it depends on your goals. If you drink it first thing in the morning, on an empty stomach, you'll prime your digestion, even if you don't plan to eat right away. It's like getting your body ready for the day. Clearing out any undigested leftovers, supporting your gut health, and kickstarting fat burning and energy production. Even if there's no food in your system, it'll still trigger your pancreas to release digestive enzymes, which can have a mild systemic effect, helping to clean up various proteins and other substances in your body. If you prefer to take it before a meal, give yourself at least 15 to 20 minutes before eating. This allows the apple cider vinegar to start working, giving your digestion a jump start. When digestion begins properly, it makes the later stages of the digestive process run smoother, helping you break down food more effectively. The better your digestion is at this first step, the more benefits you'll get from the entire process. Once your food is properly broken down, you'll be able to absorb the nutrients much better. This includes protein, minerals, fat, and carbs. Basically, everything your body needs will be absorbed more efficiently. If you suffer from acid reflux, there's a good chance that apple cider vinegar can help reduce that as well. But one of the standout benefits is how it helps with blood sugar control. Taking apple cider vinegar can significantly reduce blood sugar spikes and improve insulin sensitivity. If you take it before bed, you can also support gut health and help stabilize your blood sugar levels throughout the night. This is especially important for people who wake up with high blood sugar, such as those with insulin resistance or diabetes. However, if you're prone to hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, or if your blood sugar tends to drop too low during the night, then taking apple cider vinegar before bed might not be the best choice for you. In such cases, it can be beneficial during the day but might disrupt your sleep if your blood sugar levels drop too much at night. It can stabilize blood sugar for some, improving sleep quality, but it's crucial to pay attention to your body's signals. A helpful tip if you're taking apple cider vinegar is to rinse your mouth afterward, especially if you take it straight. Wait about 30 minutes before brushing your teeth because the acid can soften your enamel, and you don't want to damage it right away. Now let's talk about the dosage and timing, as it can vary depending on your goals. If you take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, 1 tablespoon, about 15 milliliters, is typically enough. You'll want to dilute it in at least 8 to 16 ounces of water, roughly 250 to 500 milliliters, to minimize irritation in your digestive tract, esophagus, and teeth. If you're planning to take apple cider vinegar before a meal, the amount depends on the type of meal. For a low-carb meal, stick with 1 tablespoon. But if you're having a higher carb meal, you can double the amount to 2 tablespoons to better manage the glycemic response. Just remember, if you double the vinegar, you need to double the water as well. So for a higher carb meal, you'd want to mix the vinegar with 16 to 32 ounces of water, about half a liter to a full liter. Be sure to drink this before you start eating, and allow at least 20 to 30 minutes for your body to absorb it so it doesn't interfere with digestion. When it comes to taking apple cider vinegar at bedtime, you'll want to reduce the amount to avoid irritation, especially if you're prone to reflux or heartburn. Most people don't need 2 tablespoons at night. Instead, start with 1 teaspoon, about 5 milliliters, and you can work your way up if needed. If reflux is an issue, try taking it earlier in the evening, around 8 or 9 p.m., after your last meal. This way, it has time to work without interfering with your digestion before bed, and you can still get the benefits of the apple cider vinegar. For many, the biggest challenge with apple cider vinegar is the taste. It can be a little harsh, but the benefits far outweigh the initial discomfort. Now, when it comes to the taste of apple cider vinegar, people seem to either love it or absolutely hate it. If you're in the latter group, here are a few ways to make it more palatable. First, as we mentioned, always dilute it. About 8 ounces of water per tablespoon of apple cider vinegar is a good start. For those who don't mind the flavor too much but want to improve it, I like to add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. I also throw in a few drops of concentrated stevia to help balance out the acidity. Another great option is adding sparkling water and a few ice cubes. These are all optional, but they're simple tweaks you can try if you're struggling with the taste. Now, when should you take it? You'll want to look back at what we've discussed and figure out what your main concern is. What's the issue you'd like to address most? Whether it's blood sugar, gut health, or anything else, pick the time that works best for you, or even try all of them. For example, if you take 1 tablespoon in the morning, another with each of your 2 meals, and 1 teaspoon at night. That's about 3 tablespoons, or 50 milliliters. But remember, moderation is key. Just because something is good doesn't mean more is better. So how much is too much? Typically, you shouldn't go beyond 6 tablespoons a day, which is about 90 milliliters. Anything more than that might cause irritation in your digestive tract, especially your stomach or esophagus. If you notice any discomfort, dial back the amount for a while and give your body a break. Start small, just a teaspoon, and work your way up. If you experience any irritation, lower your dosage and take it easy. Another concern is tooth enamel erosion. To minimize this, always dilute the vinegar and use a straw when drinking it to reduce contact with your teeth. Afterward, rinse your mouth with water to protect your enamel. Taking too much apple cider vinegar could also lead to mineral imbalances, especially potassium, calcium, and magnesium, which could impact bone health over time. But don't worry if you stick to the recommended dosages of about 3 tablespoons a day. This won't be a concern. Now, just because apple cider vinegar is a go-to for many doesn't mean it's the only vinegar option. If you enjoy a salad with olive oil and vinegar, for example, the vinegar in your dressing may already be giving you the acidity you need for that meal, so you don't need to add more apple cider vinegar. Hot sauce is another good source of vinegar. It can be 30 to 50% vinegar, sometimes even more. So if you're tossing wings in hot sauce, you've already gotten your vinegar dose for that meal. And while I personally prefer apple cider vinegar, even white distilled vinegar works just fine. The acetic acid content is the same, and while apple cider vinegar has the added benefits of probiotics and enzymes when it's organic and unfiltered, white vinegar will still give you most of the benefits. If cost is a concern, you can buy distilled vinegar by the gallon at a much lower price, and it'll still work for your vinegar treatments without breaking the bank. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. And if you really want to master your health and understand how your body works, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a life-saving video.